attempting now very quickly to go through a Inventor quick scenario here, once again attempting to discern how high quality this will be when it goes out to YouTube. I have used the HD numbers at 1280 by 720 and then fit the Camtasia capture screen. We'll do this again in Cam Studio just so you can see that the software is free. Camtasia is not a free software. I am working on the educational version of Inventor. Downloaded, took about 2 hours to download it on my iMac 2 gigahertz computer here, running on the Windows side, as AutoCAD does not run on an OS X or an Apple environment. So, real quick here, I'm just going to go through, we'll go through the basics of this, and my expectation would be that many of you are going to want to learn to kind of play around with this throughout the course as you finish up on the standard 2D types of exercises that we'll be going through to get you the basics of being exact. The parametric modeling that goes on in this we'll talk about in class, but more and more this is getting infused into a lot of different softwares, including SketchUp and anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll go through the basics, but if you're really going to do the most standard thing in Inventor, it will be to deal with a part. So I'm going to go ahead here and deal with the standard dot part, and it's going to be in millimeters, and I'm going to hit OK here. This now is going to bring up a flat sketch, which very much is going to be a place where you're going to very akin to what you're doing in the 2D AutoCAD class or 2D SketchUp if you're using SketchUp. You're going to draft a flat projection of something, and in this case I'm going to make it very simple. I'm going to go ahead and draft a rectangle here, rectangle to rectangle here, and I'm going to put in a circle right around there. And then finally I'll go ahead and put in some dimensions, and what you'll see is I'm applying a dimension there, and I'm not going to edit that dimension for now. I'm going to go ahead and do another dimension, and the one I don't know how to do, which would be to kind of get the dimension on that, it's not allowing me to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that as it is. What we've made is something very simple here. It can be something with a hole or something with a knob on it. Once you've finished doing these things and applying dimensions, I guess the last one I want to do is click on that and apply a dimension. Alright, so now I've got 3 dimensions in there. I haven't really located where that hole is, and we'll deal with that later. Alright, you've kind of sketched everything in here, and you don't have to be very exact. It's a little bit different than how you're doing things in AutoCAD. You're getting the basic shape down. You now do a right click and hit done, which I always find interesting, and then you have to do the most interesting thing about this is now to hit a right click and say finish sketch. Now there'll be all kinds of different things you can do. You're now more or less into the world where you finished your 2D sketch, at least on one plane as it would be, and now you can go about using your standard kind of AutoCAD commands, turn this thing around, and you can use the standard commands which you'll learn in AutoCAD as well: extrude, revolve, sweep, loft, things like that. We're going to hit the extrude here, and we'll extrude that, and if you look over here, we've popped it up. We'll extrude that 50 millimeters. And now we've gone ahead and extruded that. I'm going to go ahead, realizing now, showing you the ribbon interface, I'm going to go to View here, my pull downs here, and I really want to zoom all, view all. So now I'm back to that place right there. Okay, so now we've got something that effectively is a 3D piece, which you had drafted in. It has a couple of interfaces. Now, again, showing as we go through here, I don't know how to finish that off, so I'm going to right click, and I am going to go get rid of the navigation wheel. As I click on something like this, our hope and our expectation is that something is going to change on this menu here, though we're not finding that necessarily right now. Alright, so we go through here, inspect, model, got all kinds of different stuff here, manage, and now you can see, you can get into the parameters here, and you see that we have actually, as we were putting parameters in here, we were getting those lengths and in terms of our size. So we can go ahead and change this perhaps and make that, instead of 60, we might want it 60.1, we might want to make it 60 millimeters. We might want to make that 20 millimeters. And for this here, we might in fact want to make, that was the diameter if you remember, we might want to go ahead and make that to be, I'm typing in D1 minus 5. And what you'll see is, I'm going to hit done here. My expectation is it changed that hole right there. Let's see if we can make it a little bit smaller and we can see it come happen again. I'm going to hit parameters again. It takes that, instead of that, making it D1 minus 10. That would make the diameter, I think, or the radius as it would be. Hit a tab here. You see it's changing that to 10. Done. And whether or not it's updating, it's hard to say. Done. We're not seeing an update, and we're not certain why that is, but basically we'll try one more. We'll kind of go back to the parameters here. Instead of making that 60 millimeters, we'll make that 40 millimeters. Hit a tab here. Done. And we're not finding an update, so we're going to try to do a save first. Save this as junk 2. We'll talk about the different things that you can do within there, and I'm going to hit here, and now once it's saved I can hit an update and you see it change that. So that's, you'll notice that didn't come up as a good error message, but we'll try it again. We'll change this now to D minus, we'll make it minus 5 again, hit done, and now you can see it update. So we can go ahead and change these parameters as we go. So that's 734. I'm going to try one more thing here. Let's try, I think that last parameter would have been the height, so let's try it at that third one. Instead of 50 millimeters, we will make that 25, hitting a tab here, done, and hitting an update, and you see it's shortening it up. So there's all kinds of different things you can do with the concept here. We're going to see how, in effect, with 2010, the AutoCAD suite of products, that at least the speak is that you can dump from AutoCAD into SketchUp. I'm sorry, you can do that into Inventor, and that was a link that never really existed up till now, and showed a kind of a weakness or a strength, I guess, if you had two different houses in a programming community or in AutoCAD working on parallel projects or products. So these things now come together, and I would really encourage you to get out and use some of this once you have finished your 2D work per se. And if you don't get to this 3D aspects of this, don't feel that you're falling behind, but really do set it as a goal yourself. Every 2 weeks I'll have some time there that you can get out there and do this, taking what you've done in 2D and applying it into 3D. So I'm going to hit and stop this right now. We're going to go ahead, file, save, which I'd already done, file, close, and we'll go back to the beautiful giraffe, close that out, and I will now end my video and try to produce this out to YouTube.